What's up, everyone? Tyler DeLuca here, back for week 4 of the college football season. It's already been an electric season so far, but I think that this week is the most stacked week yet. I had to make some cuts to my list this week to really get a confident top 3, and that's the first time I've had to do that so far this season. Let's get into my top 3 games I'm personally most excited to watch this week. First game on the list this week, number 15 Ole Miss traveling to Tuscaloosa. Number 13, Alabama. And Alabama, I don't even want to call them Bama because I don't recognize this type of team in those uniforms. I've never seen an Alabama team that looks so vulnerable than they do right now, especially going into a home game. It's weird to try and process, but I mean, we saw last week the quarterback play. They switched from Jalen Milroe, who did okay-ish against Texas, and they put 2 quarterbacks in that do even worse against lesser competition. So now Milroe is back in that starting spot, and the Crimson Tide are kind of just back to where they started, and that wasn't very good either. So I'm looking at this game, and I think this is Ole Miss's time. This is Ole Miss's time, and a big part of that goes to their quarterback play and to their offense, which has been fantastic so far this season. 52.7 points per game, which is good for 4th in the country. And Dart, their quarterback, has been absolutely incredible so far on the air and in the ground, doing it in multiple ways. 852 yards with 7 TDs and 1 interception, passing with 213 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing. And with the way that the Ole Miss offense has been performing so far this season, I just don't see how Alabama can really keep up unless their defense shows up. And this looks like a vintage Alabama Nick Saban defense on Saturday. If that doesn't happen, I could see Ole Miss going in and taking a huge victory in Tuscaloosa that sets them up for success going forward in the SEC West and potentially even winning it. It's kind of crazy to even see and think of Alabama in this way, but that's where we're at this point in the season until they prove us otherwise. There's just no way to really trust this Crimson Tide team. I think Ole Miss can go into Tuscaloosa and pull it off. Next, for game number 2, we were going to talk about him. You already know we were. Colorado, number 19 in the nation, traveling to number 10 Oregon. Now, I can't wait for this game because Colorado is the biggest story, not just in college football, but in all of sports right now. And a big part of that is coaches on the other team talking about Colorado, talking about Deion Sanders. And it is no different this week with Oregon's head coach, Dan Lanning, saying, not a big reaction. I mean, I'm trying to remember when they won to affect this conference. I don't remember. Do you remember them winning anything? I don't remember them winning anything. In reference to Colorado leaving the Pac-12 for the Big 12, and this was before the season started. So, a little ways back, but this week, Dan Lanning got the opportunity to walk back that statement, which he did not. Now, we've been seeing the videos on social media. We see how Deion uses anything and everything that he can to motivate this team, and honestly, at this point, I don't think they really even need it. I think it's kind of just built into them. But if you don't think that the Oregon's head coach saying that they've never won anything, even though he's not really talking about Deion's current team, if you don't think he's going to use that, I don't think you've been paying enough attention. So this game is already going to be fun, but I do think that this game actually on the field is going to be decided in the trenches because Colorado's O-line has been a little shaky at times. They don't have a ton of size there that can really battle with the top programs in the nation, Oregon being one of those. So I'm really interested in seeing how that plays out in the trenches. But I am also excited to see another addition to this Colorado team who has not played so far this season due to injury, Alton McCaskill, who is a transfer from Houston as a true freshman. He had a stellar season, 1,074 yards from scrimmage and 18 touchdowns. That is a weapon on offense. You want to talk about just getting the ball in somebody's hands and just letting them go? That is what he can be for this Colorado team, but he's going to need the blocking. He's going to need that run block to do it. I'm incredibly excited to see how this game goes. I think without Travis Hunter, who is out for both this game and USC for sure, I think I'm going to go Oregon, but I am so excited to see this game and see Colorado in a very hostile away environment. Game of the week is a top 10 matchup. Number 6 Ohio State traveling to South Bend, Indiana to go against number 9 Notre Dame. And I'm really excited about this one because neither of these teams have been tested really at all so far this season when it comes to just the level of competition that they've been playing. So I think both of these teams were expecting to go into this matchup undefeated, which they are, and this is the test. This is where these two teams figure out what they have. And I am incredibly interested in this on the Notre Dame side especially because it feels like the trend for Notre Dame is they have this schedule and they have some one or two really tough out-of-conference opponents, and they get shaky in those games, but then they win out the rest of it, and it's good enough to keep them towards the top in the nation as a whole, but not good enough to really get them to that next level as a program. This game right here could be the one that makes them take that next step this season and gets them towards playoff contention. And I think the player that I'm looking at that has to be able to take that next step with this team is quarterback Sam Hartman, who's been fantastic so far this season. I really want to see what the performance looks like for him. But so far this season, 1,061 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Big importance on taking care of the ball in a matchup like this. I think if they can defend home field, if Sam Hartman can go out and perform, which I think he'll have to for them to protect home field, we'll not only see Notre Dame skyrocket up their rankings, but we'll see Sam Hartman move his way up the Heisman rankings as well. So I'm really, really excited to see that. But they do more than just pass the ball to Notre Dame. I'm also looking at Audrich Estime for Notre Dame, their running back, who has been fantastic so far this season as well. 521 yards and 5 touchdowns. They got the passing, they got the rushing, and Ohio State hasn't moved me a ton so far this season. So if I'm picking this game, I think Notre Dame gets over the hump. I think Sam Hartman takes that next step to superstardom this year in college football and puts his name in the race, solidifies his name in the race for the Heisman Trophy going forward. And I think that this is something that Notre Dame can build upon the rest of this season. All right, y'all, those are my top 3 matchups for this week in college football. Let me know who you think are going to win these 3. And if you have any other matchups that you have your eye on, I know there's a couple from me as well. Let me know down below what games you're looking forward to and who you think are going to win them. And I'll see you next week.